What is up, residents of Raccoon City? Nick Smith back here again, and where I made a video talking about my top 5 Resident Evil games, I figured let's continue the rest of this month talking about another Resident Evil project, that being the sequel to Paul W.S. Anderson's Resident Evil, Resident Evil Apocalpyse, the only movie in the entire film series to actually be based on a video game, that being Resident Evil 3. This was the only film in the entire franchise that actually takes a story from the games and makes it about the movie. It's about a Resident Evil game, and I'm just like, why is this the only one? It was after this when Paul W.S. Anderson started just doing his own thing and just taking random things from like the most popular game and throwing them in there without any rhyme or reason, and it made no sense. I will say, however, that even though this is based on Resident Evil 3, he did take other aspects from Resident Evil movies, from like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Code Veronica, and merge them together, and it actually flows very nicely. It doesn't feel like it's cluttered like with their previous Resident Evil film where you have two games merged into one story. It doesn't work. It doesn't feel cluttered. It just works. And that is what is this film. It works. It is a great adaptation of this story. Although the downside is, look, I get that Paul W.S. Anderson cast Milla Jovovich as the main character and they eventually got married. If you want to make a character that is supposed to be our eyes into the series, that's fine, but I wish that they just didn't have the main characters of the games take a backseat to this character. He should have either just had it be like an even transition between the main characters, have her be in every single movie, but she comes across the actual main character of the story, and it's an equal transition. They're both the main characters instead of her showing up the main character, which is what she does in this movie. I really wish that they would just cast Milla Jovovich as Jill, because Jill is in almost every Resident Evil story except Resident Evil 2 and 4. She's in 5. Well, she's not in 6, but anyways, she's in a majority of the games, and this is Jill's main story. It is her own story, her own game, and it would have benefited the film a lot better if the film was just about Jill. Make Milla Jovovich Jill Valentine, or like I said, equal transition. But anyways, this film does take a lot of stuff from Resident Evil 3. It takes the fact that if you pay attention, there is a small Easter egg that hints at the Arklay Mansion incident. You hear the police radios going on, and you hear someone say, Valentine was right. They confirm the Arklay Mansion incident happened, but they don't go into detail about it that much. The person who's playing Jill looks like her, acts like her, and is even wearing her Resident Evil 3 gear, and it is great. It is really good attention to detail. The effects in this movie are really good, except for the lickers. I get it, it was early 2000s, but I'm like, we had people in stop motion with like in the alien suits and in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies. You could have just put someone in a suit and used CGI to make it not look as bad. If you can do it with the dogs, you can do it with the hunters. And the way how they did Nemesis was really great. It looked like he just came straight out of the game, even though his character is a little bit different. It is a continuation of what happened at the end of the first film, so I get why they did it. But I really just wish that he was, oh, hey, this person is uncovering everything that we're doing, get rid of her, instead of being like, oh, we have Alice and we have Nemesis, let's see who's stronger. I really wish that it was just, get rid of her because she's exposing all her dirty laundry. Now, the best scene in this entire film is actually a scene in a church. Why? Because it is really the only suspenseful scene in the entire movie. It takes aspects from the game, and it's a great scene overall because it shows Jill Valentine acting like Jill Valentine. She's sneaking around the halls of this church. It's abandoned. There's like a couple people in there, and you see her sneaking around the corners of the church, making it another confirmation that she has been through something like this before. She's wiser, she's not taking as many chances, she is really holding her own, and it's a great scene. It's very suspenseful. You see her just looking around, and she's being Jill Valentine. It's great until Alice shows up, and then everything Jill does, Alice has to one-up her, and it ruins the character. But this is the only one that is a faithful adaptation of the games. I really wish that they had just made each movie about every game instead of just taking random things from the games and throwing them in there just like, oh, hey, this was in the game, remember this? Because it doesn't make any sense. And a lot of the stuff that he throws in there doesn't even involve the T-Virus, where this movie is all about the T-Virus. It has Umbrella nuking Raccoon City to clean up their mess and to get rid of the T-Virus. And then it goes off into some other sci-fi territory, which I really wish that they hadn't done. But For my grade for Resident Evil Apocalypse, I would say it's a C. Is it the best in the series? No, I still say that the first one is the best. But I will say I actually think it's done better than the previous Resident Evil film that we got, because it just flows so much better. Even though they took scenes from other games, they added it in the story and they had it make sense, versus taking two games and mushing them together and it just feels really cluttered and clunky. I appreciate this film for what it is all these years later. I strongly recommend, if you're a Resident Evil fan, go back and watch it. You actually might be able to appreciate it. If not, I completely understand. I really wish that they would have just continued making each film about a game instead of doing their own thing and just being like, oh hey, this is Resident Evil, when it actually isn't. Guys, put in the comments below, what is your favorite Resident Evil movie? What is your favorite Resident Evil game? Who is your favorite Resident Evil character? What is your favorite Resident Evil BOW? I really want to know. Don't forget to scoot around the corner, shoot that like button, and don't forget to tip your beret to the subscribe button. Guys, I'll see you next time for another video talking about Resident Evil.